We've made it. We are on Northern Dancer 5 after how many months? So we bought the boat. I think the deal closed March 11th. If you follow the Facebook page, you know that we purchased a new sailboat, well, new to us sailboat, back in March. We were supposed to go in April, give everyone a tour, show everyone the boat, bring it from Vancouver Island to Vancouver. And of course, because of the pandemic, everything got canceled. We're still in the territory, and we're camping at a place called Lady Evelyn Falls Territorial Campground. So car camping, but just nice to get away for the weekend. So we drove down yesterday from Yellowknife, and it took us about 5 hours. We saw over 50 bison, which is always fun to see. Lots of calves. Oh, my son has been in the territory with us for some time. He had to self-isolate when he got here, but he was able to come up and had an approved plan, and we were celebrating his finishing self-isolation by camping. So yeah, it's a beautiful spot. There's a huge waterfall. We tried to get right down to the shores below the waterfall, but it's still, there's too much water flowing right now. So we're down at Lady Evelyn Falls on the shores of the river, just below the falls, but the water's too high. Looks like there's a beach here normally, and if I could get out like another 5-10 feet, we would get a really good view of the falls from below. But the water's running really fast, and it's really high, and it drops off pretty quick, so not worth the risk. There was a beach there last year when we checked this place out, but not right now. It's just too much water. Anyways, lots of changes as everyone's dealing with around the world, but now it's third week of June. We're able to leave the territory now in July, and Moonshine is still in Vancouver on the hard. We put her on the hard, and we'll probably get all of our stuff off of the boat, off Moonshine, and then we're going to bring it all over to Vancouver Island, put it all on the new boat. And I don't think I mentioned the name yet, but Northern Dancer 5 is the name, and it's a 1979 Hans Christian 43 catch.
So, tell us where you were.
We are on Moonshine. It seems just like yesterday we were camping at Lady Evelyn Falls, and it's about 2 weeks later, I think. We had to come here to get all the stuff off of Moonshine, and then bring it all to Vancouver Island to unload onto Northern Dancer 5. Oh, yeah, we're just driving back from the previous owner's house. Had a wonderful visit with them, and you can definitely, or we've been definitely reassured that that boat has been loved and cared for the last 25 years. So I'm sure it's a mixed emotion day for them as well, but wonderful people. It really makes us feel good about who the previous owners were, and at the same time reassured them who the new owners are. So I think everyone was really happy at the end of that visit. And yeah, really nice people. And we picked up a whole pile of stuff that they've been so nice to hold for us for so long. We were supposed to get this like 3 months ago when, not long after we bought the boat, but with the pandemic, as everyone already knows, things have been delayed. So they've held on to it for us, and we've got a boat cover and the mizzen boom here, and we've got so much stuff. So we're lucky we have this van, because there is so much stuff. But now we're just driving back to Shelter Island, back to Moonshine, and we were in West Vancouver. That's where the previous owners lived. So now we're just heading back, and we're gonna stop at the grocery store, grab a couple things, and then start unloading.
How old do you think these are?
No expiry?
Nope.
Oh.
$3.
So,
Pretty sticky.
yeah. So we're back at the boat. And what are we doing?
And we're packing. Taking everything out of the cupboards, taking everything, all the bins out, loading it all into a truck. Van. Thank you, Ben. And we're gonna move it over to the Northern Dancer, which we're pretty excited about.
And we have a system. Like IKEA bags.
Yep. Alfy loads them into the bag at the top, lowers them down the ladder with the rope. I get them from the bottom, move it into the van. Right that one?
Yeah.
Repeat process. Non-stop.
Load, lower, repeat.
Yeah. Send the bag back up with the rope.
Today's episode is brought to you by McMedia. That's the van we're using. And they are, what do they do? Audio visual services. Rental, sales, installation, event support, creative content. You'd have to ask my friend Ben more about that. But that's the van that we're using, and that's the company that he has. And I'll have to adjust the camera, but I used to think I was a minimalist, and now a lot of stuff. I don't know how all this fit on the boat. Actually, these sails right here, they're going back on the boat, and that boat cover and that sail, but they're just off right now for the showing today. So we just thought no point having them cluttering up the inside. Normally they're on the boat, like on hoisted. We've just left Moonshine, left Shelter Island, and we're on our way to the BC Ferry Terminal in Tsawwassen. We'll finally get to see Northern Dancer 5.
So you're away from the dock.
This is several days later, but we're away from the dock, and there's a lot that's happened in the last few days, several days. But yeah, we have new batteries, 8Ds, which are 80 kilograms each, and there's 4 of them on the boat. We're figuring out systems. My son and his girlfriend came over for the weekend, so we haven't really had a chance to do much filming or any filming because it's a little overwhelming when you're taking on a boat like this, but it's amazing. It's just hard to do the filming as well. So today's the day. We left the dock. We're only going out for a night or two because we have to head back soon. It's a heavy boat. I'm really happy we have a bow thruster because that made this. We're 52 feet overall, actually. I thought it was 50, but we're 52 feet overall and 48,000 pounds. So it's a lot of boat to maneuver inside a marina, but the bow thruster made it a lot easier. And the motor runs great. It's 1,000 hours on the engine. 9 years old, and we're just gonna see where we end up. I don't know if we'll go to maybe to Montague, or maybe to Wallis Island, or maybe to Ganges. We've tested the windlass, so we know that that works, so we can anchor. Yeah, just we're underway, but I wish we were underway for more than just a night or two. We haven't had a chance to do very much filming, but we wanted to make sure we did a boat tour before we go. So if you haven't been following on Facebook, this is our new boat. It's a Hans Christian 43, 1979. It's a fiberglass hull, but there's tons of teak on it. I mentioned she's 43 feet on deck, but she's actually 52 feet length overall, because there's a large bowsprit at the front. Which is interesting when you're docking. You got to watch for pilings because you're about another 7 feet out in front, but we had no problem getting away from the dock. No problem, well, grabbing a mooring is easy, and coming back to the dock was fine. This boat has a very good bow thruster, so that helps. And she weighs 48,000 pounds. The keel's 18,000 pounds. Moonshine weighs less than the keel. And it's a full keel underwater. So starting at the front, as I mentioned, there's a big bowsprit, and we have a windlass. I don't know the brand of it. if you just come back a little bit from the windlass, there's a big trunk, and in that trunk is a 33-pound propane tank. So that fuels our stove and oven in the galley. The decks are teak. They look in good shape, and the cockpit all here is teak as well. So all the top sides are teak. One thing I like about this boat is it looks really shippy. Devlin likes it because it looks like a pirate ship, but she does have a lot of classic ship-like characteristics. A really nice feature that we've already grown to love is the butterfly hatch. So there's this massive hatch right in the center of the boat, and it opens like this, and it's heavy, but it lets so much ventilation in, and so much light, and that's right over the main salon table area down below. So that's one thing we really like so far. We've only been on the boat about a week. It takes time to figure all these things out, but down below as well, all the port lights, they all open, which is nice. And then you get back to the cockpit. Here is huge compared to our other boat. The beam, I think I haven't mentioned, it's 1311, I think, or 13.9. It's a pretty beamy boat. So that makes the cockpit big, but you do have the second mast. I'm not sure if it's in the camera, but that's the mizzen mast, I think they call it. So that's right in the cockpit. We've got some really cool doors that open, so we don't have a hatch board. We just open the doors, and this one you just have to pop off the hinges. You just lift up, and it swings around and latches here open. In the cockpit, we have a classic looking binnacle with a big steering wheel with it's all teak on the outer edge of it, and we've got some controls. We've got the bow thruster control here. We've got depth, the wind indicator, and auto helm is all back here. And there's some trunk space, and like I say, we're still figuring all this stuff out. Oh, and it has a full enclosure, which we really love, because on our last boat we really enjoyed having that, especially for the northern parts of BC, and even like today having it for shade. But we've got all the side curtains out right now, and I think that covers most the top sides. So it's later in the day, we're back at the boat, and I'm standing in the companionway here, and let's go downstairs and take a look. So now we're down below. I guess I'll start on the aft port. We have a stateroom here that is a double. It's quite large. Devlin and I slept in here a couple nights just to test it out while we were doing some work up front. It's full of stuff right now, so you just have to ignore the mess. Lots of storage underneath. It's got a little hanging locker, and enough room in there that you can actually change, which is good. And before I switch to the starboard side, I'll just point out that here's our engine controls for the motor. So it's just inside the companionway. And at the back under the stairs is the electrical panel. We're going to get that upgraded at some point. And if you remove the stairs, there's a door access here that accesses the fuel tanks. There's a starboard and port tank. And then we'll just reposition the camera and I'll show you this other quarter berth. So now we're looking at the aft starboard quarter berth, and it's not as large as the port side because our companionway is offset. It's not right in the center line of the boat. So this side only has a single, but it's full of stuff as well. Again, we're just moving on, or just getting all our stuff on, so it's not organized yet. We have a hanging locker in here. You wouldn't have really enough room to change in here. The other one, there's definitely enough room you could get changed. But this one's not really so much room for that. But it is a huge bed. It goes all the way back, and we've just got, and there's another hole across there so we can just hang some things. But it'd be a great single berth for sure, and it's got its own, like say, locker, a little hanging locker, and the light's back there, so I didn't turn it on. And then if you just go forward of that, that's our nav station. So it's pretty big. We've got, and there's storage everywhere, like under the table here, underneath, and yeah, it's a decent size. You can get right in. And we've got our radio up here. One nice thing about this boat, which I'll go back over here again, is everything down here is Burmese teak. And on Moonshine, there's a lot of teak, but it's laminate teak. And on this boat, not sure if the camera can see that, but that is solid teak. Like, it's not laminate. So, I mean, that's got to be over an inch thick. And every cupboard is this solid teak wood, which is crazy to imagine. And just all handcrafted. Like, you can tell this boat was built by shipwrights. Yeah, so storage under the nav table seat, under here as well. And then if you go just a little more forward, there's another just storage area. We're going to use it as a pantry, and some more storage up there, a little shelf area. And then maybe we'll reposition the camera again, and we'll go to the port side where Devlin is standing in the galley. So here we are in the galley. We have a double sink, and the drain is actually below waterline, so you have to push this button and it sucks out the water. And then the sink, the top of the sink level, that's basically the water line of the boat, from what we were told. And it's quite nice. It's a big U shape. There's our stove is just, this is like the stove I had in Moonshine for so many years before I replaced it. So it's just a different name, but it's identical. It's the same knobs. So we're back to the old stove, but we'll upgrade that at some point. And lots of cupboards, like there's 3 drawers here, 3 bigger drawers here, a little pantry style cupboard here, and we've got our ice box. So this side is the fridge and this side's the freezer. So there's a divider with holes. So your cold plates are on this side, and then your there's nothing on this side, but it acts as a fridge. And the other side it keeps things frozen. And yeah, just lots of storage everywhere. Like, as you can imagine, in any boat, there's lots of storage. And the nice thing I think I mentioned earlier was that all these port lights, they all open, so you can get lots of ventilation in here. And then I guess we'll move a little more forward to the salon.
What's under the sink?
Oh, yes, I guess we should get to that right now. So this is the heart of the boat, and I'm not sure if the camera will be able to pick it up, but you can pull all these panels off. So I'll take this one off, and the one on that side comes off. And then actually up in the salon area here, this whole front portion of the cushion and seat comes up as well. So down here we have, I think it's a 76 horsepower Yanmar 4-cylinder turbo diesel, installed in 2011, and boy, she sounds nice when she's running. So lots of room for engine access, which is really nice. I'm not going to take all the doors off, but you get the idea. Those just latch back on. And I think I mentioned that this one also comes off over here in the galley. So you can access nearly all sides of the engine. And then we'll just move forward into the main salon. And I'm not sure if you can see all over that area there, where all the bags are. That's a sea berth. I guess you call it a sea berth. So it's a bed up there, but we'll probably repurpose it for storage baskets and things like that. So, because we've got so many beds already. We got 2 in the back, and then a single, and then 2 up front. I guess you could sleep here as well, but we'll see. We'll probably end up repurposing it. And in behind, underneath, there's the hot water tank, and then under this part is the inverter. And one thing that's interesting about this boat we discovered is in our other boat, you know, you open it up and you might have one layer of storage underneath, maybe. But here you have like, oh, here's a layer of storage, and then you open up the next layer and it's another layer of storage. So it just goes down, down, down. And yeah, so that's the sea berth. This is the main salon area. This doesn't fold down. This table is solid. Under here is our refrigeration. This part here is where the access to the engine is. We have our starter battery, and then 2 8Ds. So they're 280 amp hours each. And that's for the house. And then we have 2 more 8Ds up under the V-berth. So we have 4 8Ds, 280 amp hours each, all in parallel for like 1120 amp hours, I think. So we got so much house power, which is something we'll have to get used to having, because we had a total of 210 amp hours total for the house bank on Moonshine. And I'm not sure if you can see, if you look up, there's the butterfly hatch. We've opened it. So I think I did a shot earlier of the top side of it, but it sure lets a lot of nice air into the place. And we do have screens that fit in. They just rest on this little ledge. We just don't have them out, so if it's buggy out, then you can keep the bugs out. If we go to the starboard side of the salon, another big settee and more storage. Like I mentioned before, everything is solid teak, which is pretty cool to see. And some bookshelves. Devlin loves to read, so these are going to be all full of books eventually. And there's storage in behind here if you go under, and you can also access it from, if you were to take all the books out, you could. But you can get into it from there. And under this, there's storage as well. And I think our S-bar heater is somewhere down here, but I haven't found it actually. I think it's under this one. So there are 3 ways to heat the boat. You can run it off the engine, the heat. So it has little heat exchangers throughout the boat. So when the engine's running, you can run heat throughout the boat. Then we have a diesel wall furnace here, and then we have a diesel S-bar forced air heating system. So although this trip we haven't needed the heat, it's like 27 degrees out right now, Celsius. And I guess we'll go forward, or even more forward. So on starboard, we have a hanging locker here. I won't get into too much detail about it, but it's a big hanging locker, and then a drawer underneath for linens. And then on port, we have a head. I guess you could come right in. Here, I'll just open this door. So nothing fancy, but it's pretty big. It's I'm not sure if the camera can get right around. And electric head. I'm not sure if I like the electric head yet, because if your batteries die, then you don't have a toilet. So we'll see. That's what it has for now. And it's a wet head, so if you want to have a shower, it just goes through the floor and then you sump it out. But that wasn't a deal breaker for us. It would be nice to have a separate shower, but we don't. And it's interesting, and there's a big skylight here that kind of goes part way into the companionway here, and then, or this hallway, and then mostly in the head, and then there's an opening port. But one thing that's interesting about this boat is that the more forward you go, the higher the cabin top is, which every sailboat I've ever been on, you move more forward and it gets lower and lower. But in this boat, it just gets higher and higher, which is interesting. And then finally, I don't know if Devlin can... The V-berth, it's not really... Like, you can take a middle piece out of the bed here, and then you'd have more room to change in here. But lots of drawers down the side. There's drawers underneath. Our holding tank is up front, down below. You have access at the very front to the anchor locker. Another hatch here, which is nice, that's screened. And these shelves, kind of like Moonshine had these shelves, but these are really wide. Like, you can fit full bags up there. And then we got to maybe fix this netting up, but the netting can hold your stuff up. And lots of room up here. And that's the front of the boat. So, and I mentioned the other two 8D batteries are up here. So that's, I can shut that. And all these doors have little latches. So you can just latch them open while you're underway. And that's Northern Dancer 5.